ones I leave behind, at least they can't see me cry. And I ask, when someone wants to be me, why? Not having everything would ease my mind. If you could read my mind, my God, I'm scarred. I have tattooed tears of joy.
Mr. Muhammad, do you feel like there is any hope for the youth that's growing up in the community now? What can we do to help them and guide them into the right direction currently?
I do believe there's hope. There's always hope. As long as there's life and breath in our body, there's hope. When you look at our young people and you can see the gleam in their eye, the joy in their eye from the success of accomplishment, you know that there's hope. And so in order to bring them to where we need them to go, we need to give them successes, small victories, and mount them one on top of the other. When you see these young people have an opportunity, we've hosted a lot of different youth and gang violence prevention talent competitions. And in hosting those competitions, the young people were able to get on stage and perform in front of live audiences. That's something that many of them have never done, but have always desired to do. And to see the hope in their eyes and being able to do that lets you know, yes, there is hope. And so we just have to give them victories, one victory after the other, until they can find within themselves the independence to continue to inspire themselves as opposed to having to be inspired externally. For our young people, this is the greatest generation, and I know that has become a cliche, but this generation of young people are literally the greatest generation that we have ever produced. We have some of the wisest, most intelligent young people. And even from infants, you can see them taking on information and having abilities from the academic level at a much earlier age. They're holding their heads as newborn babies earlier. They're sitting up earlier. They're walking earlier. This is to say that amongst our young people, there is a move and an influx of knowledge that is directly from God Himself that will give our young people the ability to take on the world and to bring to the world things that we have heretofore not seen. Amongst our young people that many have discarded as being hopeless is the hope for the cure for cancer, is the hope for the end to sickle cell anemia, AIDS, and all of the debilitating diseases and ailments that ill affect the world. It's the end for war. It's the end for hunger amongst our young people. That is what we have produced. And that is what we have to draw out of them. It's like a mine where you go in looking for diamonds or gold. And you look to excavate those diamonds and gold, and you don't leave until you find that product. And that is the minds of our young people. We have to extract from them the greatness that is within them.
Right, so you believe that the main objective to keep them focused is to give them something that they are interested in.
Absolutely.
If they're interested in it, that means it'll keep them positive and motivated and focused on that one thing.
Absolutely.
So basically, like maybe with the gang violence, and the reason why they join the gang is possibly because the people who they are interacting with, they are all in a likable social group, and they all have the same beliefs and maybe focuses or talents.
Right.
So that is why they are probably in the gang.
True.
But if we give them a basketball tournament, or we give them, like you said, a concert where they can perform for free in front of everyone because they probably normally wouldn't do that, then that is something that keeps them positive, motivated. So by us giving them these opportunities, it'll keep them out of the game.
Small successes.
Right.
Small successes. They want to be a part of something.
Correct.
They want to see themselves as being valuable and having input. And when you give them inclusion and participation, that gives our young people hope. That gives them inspiration.
Right.
And they take that small success and add to it until you have in front of you Sean P. Diddy Combs.
Exactly.
And until you have in front of you Jermaine Dupri. These are young people who come from situations that were not the best, but they were given small successes. I don't want to say given as such, but they were able to obtain small successes, small victories, until they developed them and grew them into large victories. And that's what we have out here. It's not just about entertainment. It's not just about sports and athletics. Really, we want to produce academic giants. However, you have to reach them where they are in order to bring them or take them where you desire for them to go. Our young people don't have certain circumstances, many of them don't have the circumstances that some of the more affluent of our people in other communities have. So we have to reach them where they are.
Right. And we have to start off small. And you being a successful entrepreneur out here in our community, what exactly can you do to help us to provide for the youth so that they are focused on something positive out here?
I give of myself, my time, my energy, my money, whatever I have.
Exactly.
And I encourage others to do the same. If we take our young people and we begin to invest time in them,
yes.
you know, sometimes we think that it's about the monetary aspect, and that may be on the surface, but when you begin to pull back the layers of pain, the layers of suffering, the layers of trouble that exist, they don't care about anything. All they want is love.
Right.
Love is at the essence of our creation, is at the essence of our being, and it is at the essence of our yearning to be free. Love is what they need. And when you begin to pull back those layers and you give them love, not having any ulterior motive. Some of our people have suffered from those who pretended to have altruistic motives, but yet they had deviant motives, and they abused the children. They took advantage of them, and that further buried our young people in a grave of self-hatred. So we have to have pure motives. We have to have sincere motives, and I believe, and it may sound harsh, but I believe that anyone who would interfere with the development of a child, as that child is growing into maturity, should be dealt with in the most severe manner. And sometimes the court system just may not be sufficient, because our young people have to have an opportunity to live if we are to realize the greatness that is rooted within them and what God has for us on His planet and in His universe. Our young people have to be able to live. So we say, like the scripture says, there are two signs before us, one of life and a blessing, one of death and a cursing. And the admonishment is to choose life, that we and our seed may live. And so life has to be approached in a respectful manner. Life has to be approached in an aggressive manner to produce for yourself and your family and your people that which God has vested in you. Every one of us has something in us directly from God. The objective of those around us is to draw it out, to mine it out of us. And I believe that that can be done with love.
What upcoming events do you have going on for the community? What can we expect from you in the future?
Well, there's many things that we're working on, but the first thing that comes to mind is September 3rd, 2011. We're hosting in Norfolk, Virginia, a day of outrage, combating youth gang violence and murder in our communities, calling ourselves to account. Because I do not believe that we have the moral authority to call on government, local, state, or federal, to do by us what we're not doing by ourselves. And if we're not being conductive, if we're not producing, and if we're not stopping this madness that exists in our own communities, then we don't have the right to put that burden on anybody else. Though there is a responsibility on the whole, and we are taxpayers and we do contribute, there's a greater responsibility on us to see that suffering that exists in our community end. And it starts with us calling ourselves to account and making a real, lasting effort to stop the violence. We have a lot of work to do in our communities, and that is what you will find us doing.
Okay. Now, for volunteers or anyone, sponsors or vendors interested in getting involved in this event, how can they contact to be a part of this?
My Twitter page is MJ Muhammad. 757. That's MJMUHAMMAD 757. And if you follow us on Twitter, we will upload all of the information, and we will continue to apprise the community of what's going on and where we will be and how we will develop this blog in the future.
Okay, so y'all look forward to September the 3rd. We will be out here in the community working with all the local youth. Everyone in the community needs to come out. The location will be disclosed in these next upcoming weeks. But make sure you follow Mr. Muhammad on Twitter for any information on what's going on, because we are definitely going to make a big change for the community and for the world in itself. And we would like to thank Mr. Muhammad and all the positive things that he is doing out here for the youth, because a lot of times, myself, raising my son by myself, I brought my son the other day into his office, and he talks to my son. My son, ever since then, has really been focused on what Mr. Muhammad has said. This is a very positive person, and I mean, if anyone needs any type of assistance or help, this is the person you need to go to.
Don't put that burden on.
This is a very powerful person right here, okay? And I really thank Mr. Muhammad and everything that he's done. I'm glad that he was brought into my life.
Thank you.
To all the loved ones I leave behind, at least they can't see me cry. And I ask, when someone wants to be me, why? Love having everything but ease my mind.